um, Carborough, North Carolina. If you can go find a little question mark, click on that. It's kind of a one-way chat situation on GoToWebinar. You can see our chats and we can see yours, but you can't see each other's. So go find that question mark box. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can see the screen, where you're coming in from today. So we've also got Shez in the UK answering your questions all webinar long. There will also be a Q&A session at the end. There will also be a replay sent out tomorrow. Let's go see where everyone's coming in from. I've got Gene in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. I'll be in Colorado at the Superstars Writing Conference coming up soon. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Mary Kay likes my logo. Thank you. Cody in Nashville. Casey still in Tucson. Philip in Southern France. Jamie in Seattle. We've got Jen R. We've got Jen P. Desiree, Claudia, Priya, Rhonda, Meg, John, Leanne, Debbie, Anne Marie, and a whole bunch of additional wonderful people. I see RJ in there. I see people coming in here from all over the world. We've got 252 wonderful folks here. We're going to talk today about how to create $1,000 a month author habits, writing, marketing, and mindset habits to build your royalties and sell more books. Shez and I were just talking about this before things started, and she said she thinks that this will be nice for people to hear, because instead of just having to chase every tactic in publishing, there are actually some common things you can do on a week-to-week basis that may help increase your royalties, which is always nice. So let's get into it. Are there marketing secrets, ladies and gentlemen? People are always wondering this, and that's certainly what a lot of people in the community's actions show, that they're looking for marketing secrets. Seems like authors, many authors, I know I have at various points, have been on the hunt for that push button secret that has eluded them for years and years. We'll try this thing, then we'll try this thing. Hopefully this new thing will work. But after so much hunting and so many courses purchased and so many YouTube videos watched, the truth has finally been revealed here in 2024. There is no secret, and there will never be a secret. Some tactics work for a few, and it's great for them. They try it, it works for them, it fits with their personality, it just works. But then it doesn't work for everybody else. But that doesn't mean we won't try it and see what happens. Some strategies only work for people with very high execution skills, not executioner skills, execution skills, like those Clifton Strengths achiever and arranger and all of those things. They're great at getting things done, but not everyone has those as high strengths. So it can be a rare breed of people who are able to get some of these strategies to work, because we see them from afar. We refer to them as robots and unicorns and incredible people, but really they just have some strengths we may not. Now, since most of the author world has been left out of the ideal of this works for everybody to sell more books, because there's nothing that works for everybody to sell more books, what can we focus on? We can keep trying all the different tactics in the world, but what can we focus on that has maybe a better percentage chance of success? I'm always thinking about what has the best percentage chance of success. By concentrating on habits that are likely, over a fairly long period of time, able to push our book sales in the right direction, we'll take a longer but less flashy path to more consistent success. So nothing works like 6 months of strong habits, by which I mean nothing will work for you at as high a percentage chance of success as 6 months or more of strong habits. Great habits like writing a certain number of words each week, not necessarily every day, but each week, or using standard checklists for marketing, like you always use the same checklist for your launches, can make a huge difference, but not in the short term, only in the long term. An author in one of our groups once said that running ads was like going on a diet, but too many of us eat one salad and wonder why we haven't lost weight yet. I ate this salad. Why aren't I down 3 pounds? We treat some of our book marketing efforts this way. Now, success in self publishing is actually somewhat simple. You pick the right salads, and then you eat a lot of salads over 6+ months, and then you keep eating the salads. You don't stop eating the salads. There's not a magical time where suddenly now you're eating creme brulee for every meal. You just got to keep eating the salads. And yes, I'm telling you that this class is chock full of vegetables, and that may scare some of you away, but I hope it won't, because as we all learn, as we continue to grow and change in this world, is that there are healthy things to do. There are things that are healthier to do on a regular basis than others. And if we do more of those healthy things, we live longer. Percentage chance that we live longer. And in this industry, there's a percentage chance that we live longer if we have healthier long-term habits. Because I've seen hundreds of authors hit $1,000 a month. And this has taught me that the consistent habits you may want to try are something that you can absolutely do. It's not like write 10,000 words a day. That's not a healthy habit. But there are healthy habits, healthy salads. You're allowed to put a little dressing on them. But are you okay? Why don't we all put in the chat, I am going to eat salad? Just put it in the chat, put it in the questions, because that means you are at least open to these habits. You are open to the idea of hard, healthy habits. I will eat salad. Put it in the chat there. I am very, very interested in hearing if you are open and interested in this today. I see Jen is having an echo problem. I would recommend just turning it off, turning it back on. That's the best way. Jennifer says, I'm going to eat salad. Rhonda says, nom, nom, nom. Casey's going to drink water, which, hey, that's going to work for you. I appreciate it. Gail is going to eat salad. Caleb's going to eat salad. Mary Kay loves some salad, as do Jennifer, Anna, Jessica. Folks, these healthy habits are going to help. They're going to feel like salad, and we have to keep eating them forever. But I'm glad you are on board. Let's do this thing. Here's what you're going to learn today. What $1,000 per month in royalty authors do to consistently write books that sell. What $1,000 plus per month authors do to regularly promote their backlist while getting cumulatively better launches. And what $1,000 per month authors do to work with their brains. You're also going to learn why these mindset habits we'll talk about in the third section might be the most important for you to adopt, and much, much more. What you'll need. Please try to have a room that's absent of distractions. Close out of other windows. Close your windows. Close doors. Put your phone on airplane mode. Put your phone on airplane mode. Put your phone on airplane mode or focus mode, whichever works for you. It's a new class, so I don't know how long it'll take. I'm hoping 60 minutes for the teaching, 30 to 60 minutes for the Q&A session. And you need to have a willingness to eat salads. No, you need a willingness to make changes if it means a better chance for success. I hope you'll stay until the end. We're going to have that live Q&A in which we'll answer each and every one of your questions. I'll be giving away 3 $20 Amazon gift cards during that Q&A. So stick around. You can only get that live. And we are also going to share an offer full of fancy bonuses to join our Self-Publishing Live 2024 conference, which has in-person and virtual ticket options. But first, I have a caveat. You don't have to do all of these habits. I don't expect any of you to do all of these habits. I'm listing lots of habits. I believe, if my math is correct, about 45 habits that I will share during today's class. You certainly do not have to do them all. I'm going to share a lot of potential habits, but there are likely far too many for you to try to follow all of them. So pay attention to your inner voice today. What feels good when you hear it? I want you to look at these various points and say to yourself, well, I was doing the exact opposite, but I wasn't really doing that for a reason. I actually do want to follow this habit. When that speaks to you, I want you to write it down. I want you to type it out. I want you to put it in your calendar, because it's okay. Even one of these habits may increase your book sales. You don't need all 45, but the ones that are going to fit the best for you are the ones that maybe get you excited. So you do not need to do everything perfectly to make your career a success. I wanted you to remember that. But when you make enough right and sustainable personal choices over a long enough period of time, your chances for success may increase. Hey, we're up to 337 people in the room. Welcome to those who just joined us. Shez is here answering your questions in the chat, as well as we'll have a live Q&A at the end. And we will be sending out a replay tomorrow if you have to hop out for any particular reason, but we'd love for you to stick around live. So let's start with our $1,000 a month writing habits. Having a consistent writing habit that allows you to produce more words per week. Now, I've always been a fan of daily writing habits, but as I've been told, some people with certain strengths or some people who are neurodivergent, they do not fit with a daily writing habit. And that's fine. But what I definitely recommend is trying to hold yourself to a certain number of words per day or per week. One of the first conferences I ever spoke at, a conference in North Wildwood, New Jersey, I was really feeling like I was out of my depth. And there were all these authors in the audience, and there were all these agents on the panel, and there was me. And I kept hearing things the whole time, people asking, well, how do I get success with this? How do I get success with that? And I raised my hand and I said, look, folks, how many of you in the room are consistently writing every day or every week? And very few raised their hands. And I said, well, that's where you need to start. And even the agents on the panel were like, listen to Brian. And that was 8 years ago. And it still holds true today. You need a consistent writing routine. And if you've been off your game, the best time to start is tomorrow or on Monday. You can get back in it. Keeping to the same location with conditions as similar as possible from day to day. If you can, and I know not everyone can do this, if you can, write in the same room, on the same computer or phone, with the same chair, at the same time per day, your productivity will increase. This is in part because your brain is getting more used to it. Your brain is getting more used to, at this time, I sit down and do the words. So over time, maybe day 20, maybe it's day 50 of keeping this up, your brain and body are in sync, and you are more likely to be able to get the words on the page. Now, another bit about your environment here. If you have a door that can close or a door that can lock, this is going to make a big difference so that you do not get interrupted. Not everyone has this as an option, but if you do have this as an option, you can do this. And you might be like, well, I can't lock my door. My spouse is expecting to be able to reach me at all times. That's why another part of this is setting healthy boundaries with other members of the house. When I was coaching my Pathfinders group last year, one of our successful authors in the group, she said, well, my mother-in-law keeps bugging me. My mother-in-law keeps bugging me. She lives in the house. There's nothing I can do. And I said, there is something you can do. Talk to your mother-in-law, even though it might be stressful. And she did talk to her mother-in-law. And this year, something new for her is she's able to produce an additional book per year. Setting healthy boundaries with a member of her household is allowing her to produce 25% more books this year. And that's huge. Generally, minimizing distractions is not always possible, but like I suggested at the beginning of this call, airplane mode, having airplane mode on your phone, focus mode on your phone, turn off the Wi-Fi on your computer so you're only focusing on the writing. These things can make a big difference. I'm also a big fan of the software freedom.to. This can help stop programs on the internet from getting your attention when you are trying to write. Be prepared to write. Be prepared. Have some kind of an outline that maybe you created at the end of the previous day. Brainstorm earlier in the day what scenes you might be coming up with. When I was writing self-publishing and email marketing, I actually spent 15 minutes outlining every morning the chapter I was about to write, and it made the chapter that I wrote flow so much more freely because I spent that time to be prepared for the session. I think I originally read about being prepared in the book Rachel Aaron's 2K to 10K, where she talks about how to have 10,000 word days, which, like I said, might not be healthy for you, but this preparation step helped her to be able to produce more books per year, and it may help you as well. Tracking performance. This is something I took from a recent social media post from Becca Syme, where she talked about track everything on your best work days and your worst work days and see what's in common. She actually found that not drinking enough water or getting an extra snack or doing something else, having a fight with their spouse, could actually get in the way and impact your writing. And so you may find that there are certain things that work when you are having a great, successful day, and then it is up to you to build on that. It is up to you to say, well, I wrote 1,500 words this day, and on this day, when I looked at my phone for an hour, I only wrote 500. Well, then you might say, well, then don't look at your phone. But unless you track it, unless you track your performance on a regular basis and figure out what it is that worked well on your best writing days, you might not be able to build on that. So there are $1,000 a month writing habits. I'm really interested. Yep, freedom.to, Gail. Savannah says, I'm very consistent with writing every day if I'm in a drafting phase, but most of the time I need to revise something I already wrote, and it's harder to track success projects with progress with revisions. So what I recommend, Savannah, while you're editing, have a minimum new word writing goal for that day. So have a goal that maybe it's a mini habit. I'm going to write 100 words. I'm going to write 100 words of new book when I am editing the old book. Very nice. Carrie says PT Wyant offers some Wednesday words and writing prompts, which that's a good suggestion. Thanks for suggesting that. Emily says, I've been getting more consistent writing, but now I write too many different things because I love all the genres and it's chaos. That might work for you, Emily. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe if you are a person who writes lots of different things, then that's just what fits with you. Some people are like that. So it is okay. You have my permission to write all of the things as long as you have a plan for at least finishing one of those things every so often. So those are some writing habits. Let's get into some book research habits. This is the stuff that people do not always love to talk about, which is making sure that the books are meeting reader expectations, aka writing to market. So $1,000 a month book research habits include regularly reading books and reviews of the bestsellers in your genre to know how other authors are handling the expected tropes, readers expecting these certain tropes, these elements of the story being in your book as well. If you regularly read and review, look at these reviews for the bestsellers in your genre, you are going to get a better idea of what your readers actually want, which is going to help you when you write your next book. As you read these titles, and this was a tip I picked up from April Kelly, who is a successful LGBT and paranormal romance author, she started to understand, oh, I didn't know how I was supposed to read these books, but now I realize this is like an essay. This is like a high school or a college paper. This is me trying to figure out, or me getting the assignment, what are the common elements between these three books? And you actually having to do that research and having to understand what are the common elements between these three super best-selling books in this genre. And that mindset and having that as your habit for taking those kinds of notes when you're doing the reading and the research can make a major, major difference. Now, this is the scary part. A lot of you might have beta readers where people are reading over your third or your fourth draft, but there's something to be said about alpha readers, people who are checking out your book early in the process. There's even something to be said about blurbing to market, which is something we've talked about in the past, where you actually write your book description first and share it with someone who's knowledgeable in your genre so that they can tell you, hey, this part of your story that you're writing in your blurb is not a good fit for this genre. We had that happen with Trixie Silvertail, paranormal cozy author. When she was writing her first book, she sent a blurb over to us and she said, hey, does this seem like it fits with paranormal cozy? And I read it. I didn't think so. We sent it to a mutual friend, Claire Taylor, who's written in Paranormal Cozy. She looked at it. She said, you need to change this, this, and this. And then she had to rewrite part of her book because the blurb obviously fit with the book that she'd been writing. But she made those tweaks and has gone on to become a six-figure author, well over the $1,000 a month book research mark here. And so she did this by sharing her blurb, sharing her outline early on so that she could get it right in the early stages so that it would definitely be closer to right in the later stages. Now, another habit, especially in the beginning of their careers, authors who earn $1,000 plus a month use developmental editing, where a developmental editor can actually help make your series closer to what readers are expecting in that genre. It is helpful to work with a developmental editor who knows that genre inside and out. And using beta readers, not just any beta reader, if you change a genre, potentially changing beta readers, to make sure you have a beta reader, someone who looks over your draft to check it for consistency and give you feedback, who consistently read in that genre to to avoid any of the unforgivable departures from what the readers want. There may be something in the story that totally does not fit with the genre. And if you include it in your book, it's not going to work. For instance, I've talked to many authors who think that they're romance authors, and then they don't have a happy ever after at the end. And that turns it into not a romance anymore. But that is one of those unforgivable things. And you'll notice this in blurbs. If you see in a blurb a romance author saying guaranteed HEA, guaranteed happily ever after, they put that in there because it sells books. And so knowing what the tropes are in your subgenre, and that can even make sense with nonfiction too, folks, you want to make sure that this is what readers in your genre are expecting. These book research habits on their own may help you if you're writing a new series or planning a new series. These may help you to start with a really strong foundation. So take out your phone, take a little picture, go in there, boop, take that picture, even though we're going to send the slides tomorrow or we're going to link to them in the document. Please, please, please remember these habits. And the last in kind of our writing and publishing section, in section 1 of the webinar, is our book publishing habits. So one thing that $1,000 a month authors do is they get outside feedback on their blurb, their covers, and their keywords. They're not doing this in a vacuum. They're not assuming they know all the answers. They are getting that outside feedback first to make sure they are aligned with the expectations of readers. Yes, I'm a broken record. I keep mentioning reader expectations because they are that important if you are going to earn more per month. Reading the book aloud can be a really helpful final edit. If you are finding that typos keep making it through to your books, you can try reading your book aloud for its final pass to catch any errors that proofreaders may have missed along the way. Proofreaders and beta readers will miss errors, but you reading out loud may help you to catch them, which could leave your readers happier, or at least your grumpiest readers less grumpy. I don't know. Using a standard checklist or to-do list every time you publish your book. So knowing that I do this on my formatting program, I do this and set up all my book description. I set up my 7 KDP keywords, doing all of this and making sure you have a very standardized process will help you to avoid any mistakes or avoid not having the right kind of info handy in order to publish your book. Completing most of your marketing tasks for your launch ahead of launch day is huge because this allows you to take care of yourself. And we're going to go into this a little bit deeper in section 3, but you can actually treat yourself with care after you hit the publish button because it's stressful. It is absolutely positively stressful when you hit the publish button. And if you're also trying to do 10 marketing tasks that day, it's not good on yourself. It's not good on your brain. It's better to allow yourself to recover because it's been a stressful project to get your book out, to get your book launched. It's going to be stressful even more stressful if you give yourself a whole bunch of launch day tasks. And lastly, this may seem too much, but I don't think so, especially in the light of this morning's email. Let yourself take a break. Let yourself take a vacation after you complete a book. This will help you to avoid burnout and to allow you to truly, truly celebrate your accomplishment. How can taking a break or going on a vacation after a book launch actually help you make more money? Because if you get burned out and then you can't write for 3 months, you're going to make less money. So this avoids the burnout by taking the time off. I recently had an author who's in my current Pathfinders group, my coaching group for authors earning over $2,500 a month in royalties. And she said, Brian, I'm burned out. I don't usually get burned out. What do I do? I was like, well, before you dove into your books, what did you used to do for fun? And she said, well, I would go out to eat. I would go walk in the mall, and I would go to a movie. And I said, there's your homework. Those 3 things. Go out to eat, go to the mall, and and go see a movie. And she did it, and she felt so much better, and she was ready to come back and tackle her next book because she followed that advice. Now, Naomi Nakashima, who is a stellar ghostwriter and editor and book coach, and she's an author herself. We always think about what's the marketing tweak, right? But one of the reasons I focused on writing first is because she said marketing can fix almost anything, but it can't fix your lack of vision, your lack of understanding of what readers are expecting this book to be, and you focusing on delivering that. The good news is that your vision is fluid. It can change. So if you've been sitting there saying, I don't know what I want to be doing just yet, but I'm scared to identify my ideal reader for my genre or put together a vision of what I want to write because I don't want to be locked into anything, you've got to unlock the lock. You've got to throw away the lock, put together your vision of what your book and your process is going to be. So Kate asks, are there any recommended launch and marketing checklists? Kate will be doing a webinar later this month on book launches, so stay tuned for that. Gail says, do you have a sample checklist? Stay tuned. We'll talk about that sort of stuff in the book marketing, in the book launching webinar later, but I would keep it to a minimum. I would not have more than 5 things on that marketing checklist for a launch. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the next section. I make too many unconscious edits if I read out loud myself. And like I said, Cody, not everything is going to be for everybody, but it certainly helps you catch lots of changes. Let's see. Drea says, I teach college composition. The reading out loud is one of the tips I give students every semester. That is fantastic. Kyler gets Word to read out loud for them. That's very cool. Catches even more typos. Awesome. Folks, let's go into the next section here. Shez is in here to answer more and more questions. Let's get into this. Let's get into the marketing. People are asking, well, what do I do for the marketing? What do I do for the marketing? I'm going to give you some weekly, monthly, and yearly marketing habits. Let's start with the weekly ones. So, one habit that $1,000 a month authors have is consistently scheduled marketing, since consistently scheduled time or consistently scheduled ahead posts to keep your own followers informed about what's coming up. Things like, hey, I've got a cover reveal. Things like, hey, I've started work on the first draft of this. Things like, hey, I've been brainstorming about the next book. Those kind of things can make it into social media posts, can make it into your emails that you send to your list. Consistently scheduling them makes a big difference. Another thing that is a weekly marketing habit is to put 80% of your marketing focus for the week into things that fit with your strengths and your personality. I love connecting with people live, which is why I do videos and I do things like these webinars. Now, we are often spending our marketing time learning new things that we don't like doing, learning new tactics that don't fit with us. But if you can think back to some of the things you've enjoyed doing for your marketing, like maybe it was just writing a special short story that only goes to your email list, or maybe it was just writing the next book, putting 80% of your marketing time into something that actually fits with you rather than swimming upstream all the time is a huge, huge marketing habit of successful authors. Another thing, and this is a mindset tweak to make. Marketing is something we often look at as we have to do it and we hate it, but it must be done. It's a necessary evil. Well, folks, we don't need to look at marketing this way. Those of you who maybe saw me at 20 Books conference who've seen me at the AuthorTube Summit, I talked about how you can actually love marketing if you focus your marketing time on things that you actually enjoy. And this can help you to change your mindset that marketing is not a necessary evil, not something you have to hate. It can be an enjoyable part of the job that helps readers to find your work. Also, there are going to be things you have to do that you don't like doing. It's like the paying taxes of book marketing. You might not like sending emails, but emails are a necessary thing that you have to do in your marketing. You might not like connecting with your readers on a regular basis. You might not like setting up discount promos or ads, but some of those things fall into that other 20%. You spend 80% of your time doing the things that you actually enjoy doing, but there are things that have to fit in your 20%. But take care after those. If you have to do some of the marketing tasks that you aren't enjoying as much, take a break after, play a game after, read a book for pleasure after, or outsource some of those tasks if you have the finances for that, to avoid just pushing through and to avoid burning out on these things and to avoid draining your time and your energy. And lastly, another habit that can be helpful is having goals around the habits of marketing and around the habits of spreading the word, doing things that you actually enjoy doing, rather than only having unreasonable goals about the results. We say, this is the month I hit $500. This is the month I hit $500. But instead, maybe it should be the month where you post to social media 10 times, or the month where you write 3 emails. Have your goals connected up with actions. Have your goals connected up with actions. I'm going to ask you to go to the chat right now. I've lulled you to sleep a little, and I don't want you to be lulled to sleep. I want you to go to the question box and say, I will attach my goals to actions. As I pour a little more tea over here, I will connect my goals to actions. Because if you're only thinking about the number of sales, you aren't necessarily going to reach those. But if you connect your goals with actions, you are more likely to succeed. So write it in there, type it in there, into the question box. I will connect my goals with actions. Awesome. Vivian says, I will attach my goals to actions, as did Anita and Margie and Karen and Emily and Garrett and Heaven G and Anna. Awesome, folks. Actions. They speak louder than money goals. Actions speak louder than money goals because actions lead to money goals, and money goals often just lead to no action and disappointment. So let's talk about quarterly marketing habits. Written checklists and documents, also known as standard operating procedures. So you likely will want to have, if this is going to be your focus as your habit, you will want to create a launch checklist that might involve setting up some ads on Amazon and scheduling some emails to your list. It doesn't necessarily have to be a million things. It can just be a couple of things. Newsletters, you might want to schedule drafting it. You might want to schedule putting the links in and checking it. And running discount promos, you might want to schedule those ahead of time with sites like Bargain Booksy or sites like BookSends or maybe even BookBub to run discount promotions to have your book free or 99 cents during your KDP Select 99-cent or free days, or just to do it if you have a permanently free or 99-cent book that is wide. Have a checklist. Have a document so that you're not reinventing your entire process from scratch every single time. You also, as habitually, can make as many templates as you want to avoid starting things from scratch. Copy previous emails and make a few changes. Copy previous promos and make a few changes. You do not need to redo it. I have a friend of mine who's also an author, but she's a public relations guru. She's a PR guru. And one of her big things is if you were to get on a show like the Today Show, if you were to get on a big program or even something local, it's up to you to share it. It's up to you to actually give that PR appearance buzz. It's not about the PR appearance. And so if you create a promo, it's up to you to share it multiple times. You have my permission to take a post that you sent 3 months ago and post the same dang thing. You have my permission to take an email from 6 months ago, 12 months ago, copy it and reuse it with a few tweaks and make sure you said the right dates in there. You have my permission to copy off of yourself. Don't copy off of other people, but copy off of yourself. That is a habit of successful authors. Another habit of successful authors is batch processing things, writing several emails at once, writing several social media posts at once, scheduling these in advance to avoid rushing, to avoid having last second mistakes. Batch processing is the secret. If you see people, how did they post 10 TikToks today? How did they do that? They batch processed those. They set a timeout where they were going to create all that. And that's all they focused on for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And now it looks like they're a superhuman. It's not that they're a superhuman. They just batch process things. You could ignore everything else in this webinar and just start batch processing your emails and your social media posts and things like that. And you would already potentially see a benefit. You focus 80% of your marketing on letting your own followers know about stuff. You might not have a lot of email signups yet. You might not have a lot of social media contacts yet, but you have to make the time. If this is the habit you want to focus on, 80% of your attention in your marketing should be letting your own followers know about things like launches and things like promos. Since they're cheaper, you don't have to spend extra money for them. And those people already like you. And getting help. You do not have to do this all alone. Self-publishing does not mean alone publishing. Self-publishing does not mean alone publishing. You can get help from others whenever possible, either in the form of swaps with friends in your genre, or potentially a seasoned virtual assistant who is familiar with your genre. It is okay to get help. It is okay to pay for help. It is okay to not have to do this alone. And your yearly planning habits for your marketing. I talked about this in the email today. If you didn't get it, putting all vacations and time off on your schedule at the start of the year will help you to avoid working and avoid putting deadlines near your trips. Planning launch and promo dates ahead of time. You might even get one of those giant year at a glance calendars and put your launch and promo dates on there and give yourself enough time to complete any lead up tasks. As a rule of thumb, it's a good idea to figure out how much time something will take and then give yourself 50% more time than you actually think you need, because usually that is more accurate. So if you think something's going to take 3 hours, find 4.5 hours to give yourself. Using your own self-knowledge and your own past difficulties to keep your schedule light during difficult life months. If you know that August is crazy because you're always visiting your family, keep August simple for yourself. Have less planned in the month of August. You don't always need to push through these tough life months. You plan ahead. Don't push through Plan ahead. This is a habit of very successful authors. Put a limit in place of the number of new things you can learn and add to your life. No new projects, no new ideas. You just sometimes need to focus on your current direction. And I know that's hard if you're writing a bunch of different stuff, or you tend to pinball and you tend to squirrel and throw your attention in a lot of different directions. You're allowed to put some limits. Becca Syme was on the Sell More Book Show, my podcast, a couple of weeks ago. And she said, Brian, you don't like saying no to yourself because you're a high positivity strength and you're a high achiever. You like to get things done and you think you can get anything done. And so when you say the word no to yourself, you don't like it. And I'm like, that seems accurate. And she said, well, try the not yet technique. Try saying, I'm not going to do this yet. I could do it in the future, but I'm not going to do it yet. And that can feel like a little bit less painful. And lastly, having a flexibility to know that all plans must be fluid. Life happens. Good advice happens. Trixie Silvertail, who I mentioned earlier, had great success, but only after she decided to rewrite half of her manuscript because some good advice showed her that her book was not going to fit in the genre. So she followed the good advice. It took extra time. Her plan needed to change. She needed to launch later. It's a good thing she did because she's had a lot of $1,000 plus months since she made those changes. So be flexible, be fluid, be malleable, because that can make a major difference. Becca Syme posted in a social media post a while back that no amount of not having success in the past is indicative of never having success in the future. You always have the chance to go from not successful to successful, as long as you are willing to learn, retrench, which means go back to basics, and not give up. Only you can stop your publishing business. You have all the agency. You are the main character in this story. The happy ending can still be in front of you as long as you learn, adapt, change, and move forward. Wise words from Becca Syme. Bonnie says, when you say yes to something, you are also saying no to something else. Yes, Bonnie, you're absolutely right. Carrie's trying to finish some of her works in progress. You can do this. Shauna says, putting a limit on learning is hard for me. I want to know all the things. Shauna, just tell yourself not yet. Tell yourself not yet. Don't say no. Tell yourself not yet. Jessica asks, do you have any recommended softwares and services to schedule? Jessica, I just schedule on Facebook itself. You can go onto Facebook and schedule. You can go on Instagram and schedule. TikTok, it's not as easy right now, but a lot of these platforms are free to schedule ahead on the actual social media. Meg Gray says batch processing has been a game changer for her. That is awesome. That is great. I'm so happy to hear this. Emily says, been working on trying to have a growth mindset, and this sounds like what Becca is referring to, hoping to keep getting better. You absolutely can, Emily. You absolutely can do it. And you're right. What Becca's talking about here is definitely growth mindset. Let's talk about mindset, y'all. We're into section 3. This is the section most of us ignore and most of us think is the least important, but it is actually the first thing we should focus on and the most important. Let's talk about self-care. Having established daily times off your computer or with your Wi-Fi off or with your phone or your Wi-Fi on your phone off to help you recover, to help you to reconnect with life, to help you not be glued to a screen. An understanding about how food and sugar before and during your workday impacts your productivity. Going back to Becca's post that I quoted from social media, she talked about how some of the things that kept authors' word counts down was having a sugary snack before they started working. But maybe having something higher protein or just drinking some water instead of having the sugary snack may be able to increase your productivity because you're going to crash. If you have the sugar, you are bound to crash. Regular exercise, moving your body, outdoor activities can help keep your body in good health. A couple years back, I used to dictate into my phone while walking. I would walk 2 or 3 miles while getting a couple thousand words on the page. And that is not necessarily for everyone. Yes, I did get some weird looks, but it is absolutely something you can do to get out for 5-10 minutes, to get some sunshine, to do something that moves your body, because we are basically like professional athletes. We need to keep our minds sharp. But in order to keep our minds sharp, we can't ignore our bodies. We can't ignore our bodies. A monthly ritual to refill your creative well by reading or watching movies or going to the mall. Having a monthly routine where you are absolutely just not working and you're actually bringing in stimuli that can help you to write the next thing is a huge self-care habit. And lastly, don't just talk to other authors. Don't just, talk to yourself. Connecting with family, connecting with friends can help you to feel more grounded and can help you to reconnect with your why of why you are doing the work that you are doing. Because if we get so focused on the work, we are going to burn out. We need to connect with human beings, as annoyingly wonderful as they can be. Money habits. Y'all aren't going to want to hear these. First of all, just telling the truth here. A positive attitude around money. If you, when you're spending money on a bill, you always grumble. If you, whenever you have to buy something, whether it's a course, a ticket, or something, you grumble about it. You need to have a positive attitude. You need to think of, well, this money can actually lead to more money. This money I'm spending can actually lead to more money. So when it comes to earning it and spending it, having a positive attitude make a big, big difference. I've heard some people refer to this as their money story. You need a positive money story. You may need the habit of spending money on things that are essential, and an understanding that sometimes you need to spend money to make money. It's a business. Sometimes you need to spend money to make money. Y'all, I have seen it time and time again, and it drives me up a wall. When I see that authors a price got raised on some email service provider, and suddenly now they're like, are there any free ones out there? Is there anything I can do for free? Y'all, email service providers cost money. Sales tracking softwares like Book Report cost money. And sometimes that's normal for a business to have to spend a little bit of money. If you have to downsize something, get rid of that Apple TV Plus or that HBO Max membership and focus instead on spending money on your business. A focus on profit and cash flow, not just how much you spent in your marketing, but how much profit did you get? How much money do you have on hand? Because one of the challenges of advertising, of course, is Amazon pays you in 60 days, but your credit card you might spend on ads, you have to pay that back in 30 days. And so how much cash you have on hand is an important consideration for authors trying to earn more money. We talked about this in my self-publishing live group. Reducing high interest payments from debt is going to be really helpful for you. Either you pay off the full balance from your credit cards, or you have a plan to do it, or you establish a plan to relieve yourself of debt. I'm a big fan of my fee-only financial advisor, so they're not connected with like, trying to sell me a mutual fund or something. Um, Establishing a plan where you are going to get rid of your debt with someone who is smart and knows what they're doing and is not just someone you saw in a commercial on TV can make a major difference. And then saving up money every month. This is the part I knew no one was going to want to hear. Saving up money each month through automatic deductions can help you avoid tax time surprises, help you save up for items in your business, and may even help you plan for a possible future retirement. I contribute to my retirement every month. There are certain retirement plans that fit with a self-employed business owner. I have been doing this for some time, and it is helping me to, hopefully in the future be able to take care of my kid and take care of me and my wife going forward. And I know that's not always possible because you might not be earning enough to do that. But these are habits to start thinking about in order to get to another level with your author career. And the last section, relationship habits. Establishing and enforcing boundaries. Once again, I'm bringing this up for your writing and marketing time. Establishing these boundaries with friends and family can help them respect you as an author, and it can help you to make sure that you are getting the space and time you need. Avoid these takedowns, avoid these witch hunts, avoid this mob mentality situation. Every few months, there's a mob mentality thing. Right now, people are witch hunting. Like, did this person use AI in their books and they're not telling anyone? Go get them. Avoid these situations like the plague. We do not need more takedowns and witch hunts and mob mentality. We do not need to divide our community, and we do not need to pit people against each other. Just steer clear. Steer clear. Embrace kindness and steer clear. Surround yourself with positive, uplifting people. There's the old phrase, I forget which self-help guru once said this, maybe Jim Rohn. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. If everyone around you is very negative and very, very much a downer, this is going to help. This is going to hurt your ability to grow as you go forward. When I started learning more about personal change and personal development, I started losing some friends, and I was worried. Is this not something I should do? I didn't need to worry because I naturally found people that were more positive and that were more focused on improving their careers. Schedule regular time with your busiest friends. If you're busy and your friends are busy, there is no shame in putting things in the calendar. One of my best friends in the world, he's a busy CEO. I'm a busy CEO. I will schedule time on his company calendar to chat. And I have no issue with this. He has no issue with this. And this is how we actually make it happen. And lastly, connect with people at in-person or online industry events at least 1 or more times per year. This can help you to avoid feeling alone and make you feel like you are part of something bigger. Because if you are just always the only one who is in your author business, you are not going to see that, hey, there's other people who have the similar struggles to you. There are other people who are learning this, and there are even people who are behind where I am right now. And it can feel really good and feel really a real connectedness to self-publishing to be at an in-person or online industry event. Now, folks, we are going to have more in here. We do have more to focus on. We have those $20 gift cards I'm going to give away during the Q&A session. So remember to stick around for those. We're also going to have the Q&A session at the end. Now, Claire Taylor on the importance of self-care said, and this is my former co-host of the Sell More Book Show, very successful and prolific author. She said, if you're not building in sustainable practices to carry your mind, heart, and body through the tougher times, these tougher times will knock you down and keep you down. There's no drawback to developing your connection with self. I love that I get to work with so many people who are leaning hard into this tough work, building practices that make sense for them and seeing the results. It's rewarding, but ultimately it means there are people who make it through, and I just want to see more people make it through. And I feel the same. I mentioned this stuff, and y'all, we were at about 350 people on the call, and now we're at 286. And I would bet you I lost the majority of these people during the self-care section. You who stuck around, take this in, because these are the things that actually increase your royalties in the long run. And those 70 people or so who just left, they thought that was all crap. But it's not. It is not. It is not. Larissa says, appreciate you reminding me to take care of ourselves. Seriously. Absolutely, Larissa. Let's see. Stacy says, will my questions be seen? Check up earlier, Stacy. It's possible that your question was already answered. Lillian says, RE boundaries. My husband laminated a sign for me to hang on the gate, telling people that a live interview is in progress and don't ring the doorbell or knock. That is awesome. And we have trained these other people to avoid this. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Carrie says, Novelicious on Twitter is very uplifting, has artistic quotes and tweets encouraging writing and reading. Thank you for the recommendation. Let's see. Stephanie asked, can you point us in the direction of business advisors for self-published authors? That is a great question, Stephanie. Email us, and we will absolutely be happy to try to help with that. Stuart says, cancel the cancel culture. Yes, indeed, indeed. That's probably where I lost people. People saying, no, I want to keep this cancel culture alive. You have got to focus on the positive. You have got to focus on the kindness. Yes, there are some grumpy and terrible people who have found success. Most people who have found success are not grumpy and terrible. They're very, very nice. Y'all, I'm just going to speed through these because I want us to get to the Q&A. So, of the habits that we mentioned, I used these. Turning off my computer's Wi-Fi and listening to focus music while writing helped me consistently produce books and articles when I was doing freelance. Focusing most of my spare marketing time on areas that interested me, like podcasting and webinars, helped me to reach more readers. Reducing my high-interest debt payments through eventually paying off my credit cards helped me to reduce my anxiety as well and focus more on my work. These habits helped me go from $0 to $100 a month. Habits that got me from $100 to $500. Going to a writing workspace, a special writing place 5 days a week, helped me to consistently write more words and put out more books. Planning launch and promos on a yearly basis rather than 2 weeks or 2 days before the launch helped me to increase my book sales. Regular exercise helped me to increase my energy, allowing me to get more done in less time, helping me to go from $100 to $500 a month. Interestingly, I exercised all year last year. I had to get back into the groove of exercise. Getting back into exercise was a factor in me earning $35,000 more in profit from 2022 to 2023. And so I think that exercise made a huge difference. And habits that got me from $500 to $1,000 plus. Taking reader feedback to change what I wrote helped me to write books that reached more people. Hiring my first and then future virtual assistants helped me to hand off some of the tasks that drained my energy so that I could focus more on what I enjoyed. And visiting events, visiting author conferences, connecting with fellow authors helped me to meet and even eventually work with some of my self-publishing heroes. So to recap, writing, research, and publishing habits like a consistent schedule and environment can help you get more words on the page more consistently. Weekly, quarterly, and yearly marketing habits like standardized checklists, focusing on your joy, may help you to sell more books with less stress. And mindset habits like exercising your body, saving money each month in a separate account, and surrounding yourself with positive people may increase your publishing enjoyment, your creativity, and also your bottom line. Now, these types of habits have definitely helped me to grow the things I care about, like Author Ad School and the Self-Publishing Live community. So how does this sound to you? How does it sound to you? Feel free to sound off in the questions. These are not the typical pieces of advice you receive in these classes. So this is really about trying something different in a systematic way to make your author career work. Of course, we want the finances to make sense with more money coming in to pay the bills, choosing what to do with our time, and feeling more comfortable with the marketing that we're doing. But we want to love what we're doing. We want to love ourselves. We want to bring more joy into our publishing career. We deserve more joy in our publishing careers. And if there is a way to make more money and to take better care of ourselves and to be happier, it's a true win-win-win situation. Now, it's rare to focus on things like habits and goals. Most of the classes, most of the author conferences that I attend, anything related to mindset gets pushed to the fringes. Anything related to habits might not even show up there. But if you have struggled, tried every tactic in the world, and haven't been able to figure out why, some of today's habits might be the pieces of the puzzle that you missed. And when I stopped worrying as much about learning everything and instead cultivated healthier habits for myself, I found that my royalties grew, and I found that my revenue grew. And I have found this for other authors who have focused on the inside and have focused on the actions, and they have been able to see a massive improvement. Now, I think it's high time that habits, goals, and maybe your actual enjoyment of self-publishing and your own health became the prime focus of your author career. Now, I'm not sure why you came here today, but I hope you get how improving your habits and your processes can both help you in your author business and allow you to reach your goals. Focusing on these non-monetary things can help you achieve monetary success. And if you work on creating new habits, if you work on infusing your author life with more things that you want to do, that you love to do, you will find more success and be happier. And this is absolutely something you can do to level up your author life. And even though it'll take time and effort, of course it's going to take time and effort, eating all those salads. But I have seen other authors adopt this mindset. And I know you can absolutely do the same. Now, there is so much more here. There's only so much I can share during a 1 to 2 hour session when it comes to making the habit and process improvements that'll help your career. I would love to share the teachings of brilliant minds like Claire Taylor, Naomi Nakashima, and Becca Syme, who I mentioned quotes from earlier today. They are so brilliant. I have things to share, but they have things to share too. And I want us to work together to figure out how we can find the tactics that will be a better fit for the kind of people that we are. And I want us to do this, not on our own, but in a kind community of author friends, so that we have this opportunity to grow together. So here's the next essential question. How do I create the habits and goals that will bring more joy and book sales in 2024 and beyond? Well, you always have two options. You can do it alone using trial and error and some of the tips that I share here today, or you can do it with friends and trusted experts with the help of our upcoming community event. If you want to hear about this community event, type YES into the questions box, because before I share more, I want to get your permission. I want to know that you actually want to hear about this. So I want you to type YES if yes, you want to hear about this special offer, you want to hear about this community event, to learn from me and from Becca Syme and from Claire Taylor and from Naomi and more. Brenda says, yes, I am interested. Jennifer says yes. Tennille says yes. Sherry says yes, as does Vicky and Stuart and Margie and Leanne and Meg and Kate and Jessica. And Guy says yes / we. And Gloria and Mavery and Meg L. Awesome, y'all. I'm excited that you're excited. Thank you for your permission. We're going to cover this real quick, and then we will get to that Q&A session. I am always a big fan of this quote. Forget what we became. Forget what taking 20 courses and focusing on every single tactic under the sun has led to, which has not led to as big and grand with these book sales as we wanted to be. But what if we focused on our habits? What if we focused on those writing, marketing, and mindset habits? And we put them in line for 3, 6, 12 months. What would we be capable of becoming? Possibly something we never even expected. A happier, healthier, and more successful author. That is what we're hoping for. That is what we're trying to do here. So let me introduce to you Self-Publishing Live, October 2024. This is a conference for authors that has both in-person and virtual options. So this is a 2-day in-person and virtual event coming in October, led by the team that brought you the 5-day challenge and Best Page Forward. This is a conference with a specific theme, not focused on every tactic, but focused on developing stronger habits and stronger processes for author success. It is also a series of social gatherings. We'll have virtual social gatherings beforehand with other authors who are in the same place as you without leaving the comfort of your home. And this is the best way to make writer connections and the essential decisions for your career and having fun while you do it. It's going to help you upgrade from this, chasing and chasing and chasing your own tail, to this, a smoother road, a vision, a plan of what you want to do going forward. But I don't want to do this alone. So do you want some brilliant people to help you? Claire Taylor is going to be speaking at this event. Jen LaSalle from Author Ad School is going to be speaking at this event. Naomi Nakashima, fantastic editor and ghostwriter who I mentioned earlier, is speaking at this event. Becca Syme will be speaking at this event. I will also be speaking at this event too. So, what is included in the virtual event? If you're not interested in traveling anywhere, virtual event is actually 2 weeks after the in-person event. October 29th and 30th, get 2 virtual meetings of our self-publishing book club and additional social gatherings before the event. You're getting those. You're getting lifetime access to the event and all the replays of the gatherings. You're getting an attendee-only Facebook group to answer your questions. And you're getting this cohesive theme through 2 full days of education, 2 full days of the virtual replays of what happened in person. This cohesive theme of developing stronger habits and processes that will be woven through every presentation, every panel, and every Q&A session. What about the in-person? 2 weeks before that, we will be recording live. We will be there live. Claire and Becca and Jen and Naomi will be live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, October 15th and 16th with the theme of developing stronger habits and processes. You'll get FaceTime with me and Claire and Becca and Naomi and Jen. and all the other attendees. It's going to be an intimate conference. We're only selling 90 tickets. And these 90 people will experience the beautiful fall weather of Chapel Hill with walkable shops and restaurants nearby to help you get away from your desk and focus on your growth. You'll also get everything from the virtual event 2 weeks after that and the attendee only Facebook group to ask questions and get the answers that you need. So Casey Dawes, who I saw was here, said the SPL conference gave me a mix of broad concepts and details to implement right now. The speakers were all personal and open with their information. It's like being in a small gathering with them where we were allowed and even encouraged to pick their brains, and you will be encouraged to pick their brains. Elizabeth Mayette said the Self-Publishing Live conference was one of the best I've ever attended. The variety of topics was excellent, centered on this single theme. Brian and his team created a conference where I felt so connected rather than just sitting, listening, and taking notes. And Carrie said, of all the events, conferences,